Welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to completely demystify one of the most intimidating academic journeys you can possibly embark on, and that's the master's healthcare thesis. We're actually going to treat this explainer like a strategic quest today. We'll take that big, broad, kind of confusing cloud of an idea in their head and map out the exact blueprint you need to turn it into a confident, successful final defense.
So here is our roadmap for the journey. 1. Finding your unique topic. 2. Rules, guides, and blueprints. 3. Pitching your research plan. 4. Executing the research safely. And finally, number 5, the ultimate final thesis defense.
All right, let's dive right into phase 1, finding your unique topic, focusing on scoping and feasibility. Now, you absolutely cannot just duplicate existing work, and you definitely shouldn't bite off more than you can chew. Take a broad topic like AI and diabetes. Sounds impressive, right? But honestly, it's a trap. It is way too broad. Instead, compare that against evaluating the added value of psychosocial variables on top of standard lifestyle data. See the difference? That second one is highly specific. It's a grounded, feasible topic that zeroes in on a real, actual research gap.
To get to that kind of focused topic, you really need to follow 3 crucial steps. First up, identify gaps in the literature. Second, focus on feasibility. At a master's level, feasibility is literally everything. This means you have to use validated instruments. Please don't invent your own ad hoc questions. Use established, standard psychological scales or validated clinical tools. And finally, step 3, draft a short concept note summarizing your background, aim, and methods so you can get early feedback before investing months of effort.
Moving on to phase 2, rules, guides, and blueprints. This is all about navigating the admin side and getting your formal proposal ready.
An incredible idea just won't survive if it doesn't meet strict departmental realities. So first, you gotta clear some initial red tape. You absolutely must secure an approved project guide officially sanctioned by the dean. You also need to aggressively track submission dates. For instance, round 1 project proposals can be due as early as August 10th or sometimes late September. And when you do submit, your blueprint must be the whole shebang. It has to feature all the essential sections: your title, synopsis, intro, literature review, aim and objectives, and a really detailed methods section.
Now, here is a crucial point you need to burn into your memory: less than or equal to 20%. When you're writing your formal proposal, originality is everything. The permissible plagiarism similarity limit is strictly capped at 20%. Going over that number, well, that will stop your research journey before it even begins.
All of these requirements actually build into your work plan. Within your formal proposal, you have to establish a clear timeline. Think of a Gantt chart that maps out your exact chronological execution. It starts with proposal writing, flows into data collection, moves right through the experiment conduct, and concludes with your dissertation writing. Your evaluators really need to see that you understand this sequence of operations.
And here's a vital reminder nestled within that timeline. If your methodology involves human subjects or any kind of sensitive data, you must have a rock-solid, planned approach for institutional ethics clearance, or the IEC. You literally cannot collect a single data point without clearing this hurdle.
Okay, on to phase 3, pitching your research plan. This is all about surviving that very first trial.
This is the ultimate challenge you'll face before an examiner and the institutional selection committee. How on earth do you take all that literature review, the scoping, the methodological planning, and condense months of painstaking work into just a few moments?
Because that's exactly what you have: 10 minutes. The absolute strictness of this presentation limit just cannot be overstated. When you're pitching your proposal to the committee, you have to be punchy, clear, and relentlessly focused on the core value of your research plan.
To survive those 10 minutes, you're given a maximum allowance of exactly 20 scientific slides. Doing the math there, that means you have roughly 1 minute per slide to make your case. You absolutely cannot afford to fill these slides with overwhelming walls of text. You've got to rely on clear visuals, structured charts, and your own confident narration to carry the day.
So what exactly goes into those 20 slides? You need to rapidly and clearly hit these target areas. What is your specific problem statement? What are your measurable objectives? What exact gaps in the literature are you filling? And what is your proposed analysis? If you can articulate these 4 points clearly, you are going to pass that institutional selection committee.
Now we hit phase 4, executing the research safely. This is where the grind and academic integrity really come into play. Once you're out in the field or the lab, you aren't just flying blind. Enter the project progress form. This is a super important tracking document that's submitted by your guide at least once per cycle. It's basically designed to record your accomplishments and capture any necessary adjustments to your plan. It makes sure that both you and your guide stay firmly accountable to that original timeline and those objectives we talked about earlier.
Throughout this entire execution phase, there are two non-negotiable rules. First, absolute data integrity. You must maintain complete academic honesty. Never ever fabricate results or data sets. Second, your administrative hygiene has to be flawless, which means all your references must strictly adhere to the Vancouver citation style. Slipping up on either of these will completely derail an otherwise brilliant project.
As you're finishing your data collection and writing up the dissertation, keep this number in the back of your mind. 20 marks. Before the final external defense, you'll actually face an internal evaluation by the ISE team, and it's worth 20 crucial marks. Think of it as a vital dress rehearsal to make sure your methodology and findings are totally airtight.
And finally, Phase 5, the final thesis defense, the ultimate boss battle. You submit your full final dissertation and you stand before the committee one last time. Now, I really want you to view this not just as some grueling test, but as your triumphant final step. This is the moment where you prove your expertise, you defend your findings, and you officially fulfill the final requirements to earn your Master of Science degree. So we've laid out the entire structured path today, from finding that really specific gap, mapping out your Gantt chart, surviving the 10-minute pitch, all the way to upholding absolute data integrity. You now have the map. You know exactly how to survive the bureaucratic process. But the real question is, what new territory will your research actually uncover? What meaningful scientific contribution are you going to make? I highly encourage you to take this framework, go out there, and find out. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and best of luck on the journey ahead.